All right, so this is going to be a long ass video, probably at least 30 to 45 minutes, maybe. So I'm recording it on my phone versus using the app. So, for a couple things. One, how are you fucking. Oh, wait, oh, suppose. I hit my pinky with my index finger. Thought of, and I saw blood. I was like, "That's cute." Thank God I have a dull nail. Anyway, so a few things to go over first before I jump into this rant video. One, yeah, I'm gonna be chewing gum, so if that's a problem, leave now. Two, I'm gonna be going over some spoilers, so if that's an issue for you, better go now. Um, Three, if you don't like long videos like this, better leave now. Last chance. Okay, cool. You had your fair warning. So this one is going to be one that I wanted to do, I think 2 weeks ago. Get these off. I'm tired of that reflective shit. That reflection, it gets on my nerves. So I wanted to do this 2 weeks ago, but I hadn't seen Endgame yet. So now that I've seen Endgame, I can do it. This is going to be Marvel versus DC and other comics as well. So, and also if you get offended by if you're offended by just me saying that, better fucking leave. So, for Marvel versus DC, I'm covering everything. And when I say everything, it's going to be a summarized everything, not a intricately detailed everything. Just my viewpoints on shit and whatnot. And, likes, dislikes, all that. So, for Marvel versus DC, a lot of people have their choices. They love Marvel, they love DC, they love other comic companies and indie comic publishers and whatnot. So, you can like whatever you like. That's the whole point. That's what makes this fun. For me, like when I look at Marvel versus DC, like now it's you got the films and the shows and the comics. Now, the comics will always be better than the shows. And I know that pisses a lot of people off because nobody likes to hear the argument books are better than film or books are better than shows. Because books have everything in them. And I've gone over that once about episode 2 Phantom, almost said Phantom Menace. Oh, yeah. Phantom Menace is 20 years old today. Fun. Ow. Comfortable. Yeah, books versus comics with Attack of the Clones, episode 2. The opening to it is way different than the film is. Oh, traffic. ADD. Well, ADHD, CPTSD as well. Let me see. So, the comics will always have the complexity. Let's start with Marvel first. Marvel Comics versus Marvel Films. Okay, the films are basically the watered down versions of the comics. They have a hair of complexity to them, but it's kid complexity for the most part. But when you read the actual storyline to it, it is highly intricate, super complex, very detailed, and you have to really pay attention to everything that's written in the page, in the bubbles and said and shown by the artists and the writers and whatnot. So yeah, it's a trip. Like you can and some of the films from the MCU and all Marvel films in general have different tones to them. The early Marvel films, those were the good ones. Those were really good. Trying to think what's the first one. I think Blade was the first one, I think. From 99. That's 20 years old. Crazy, right? 20 years ago. Damn. Wow. I feel old. So you have Blade, and then you have Blade, Daredevil, Elektra, Fantastic Four. Um, I really gotta think. Wow. But you know what I'm talking about. And then you have the break off films and stuff. And then finally it started with Iron Man in 2008. Um, what else was there? I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know, I can't think of it. But like when you look at different films from Marvel, each of them is different because they have a certain tone to them, and they changed the tone over the years. Early Marvel film, the X-Men films as well. Um, the early Marvel films, they were really good in some aspects. Not all of them are good. Some are good, some are bad. Others love them, others hate them. Depends on who you're talking to and who your group of friends are. It's whatever. Everybody can like what they like. It's all about respecting each other's opinions. Don't force your opinion on somebody because, they don't like that movie because it's got this in it or that in it. So, when I talk about complexity and changing stuff, like Iron Man 3 is a good example of this. I'm not talking about the Mandarin story. That was actually pretty cool. But I'm not too big on Iron Man 3. The thing with Iron Man 3 at the change was Tony's alcoholism being switched to PTSD for kids. Like, I mean, PTSD isn't a joke. It does happen. I got CPTSD. But I think they should have had the alcoholism into it because it would have been something that is really easy to identify and see. And they did that right in Endgame with Thor becoming an alcoholic. Like, I watched that and I was like, that's the way Tony should have been in Iron Man 3. But the way they did it in Avengers Endgame was perfect. Like, it shows like how he went from being on top and then dragged down to the bottom because he felt so shitty for not killing Thanos the first time. And then you look at everything else that's been going on, and all the Marvel films are basically set for kids. They're aimed at kids. They're not aimed at adults. They're more aimed at kids because they want to bring in the kid demographic versus trying to please the adults and the older demographics. That's how they do it, and it's annoying. That's why I hate Civil War. They took one of the most complex, intricate, celebrated. Oh, that's better. Whew. Damn. Much better. Now I can breathe. Holding me back for a bit. They took one of the most celebrated and not to mention controversial storylines from 2006 and completely butchered it to where it was just utter shit. Like, they took the title and then they took it to where the heroes were fighting each other and that was it. There was no complexity behind it. They even changed the damn name of the Superhero Registration Act to the Sovacool. What was it? Sovacool Accords or something? I forget. All I remember is Accords. I don't remember the name. And then, like, all the Marvel shows and stuff, those are really good. Those were dark. Those were intricate. But they didn't get really intricate until the 90s. Like, the 80s shows were probably dark in some aspects. I just never really sat down and watched all of them. Like, I think I watched a few episodes of The Incredible Hulk when I was a kid. But other than that, it didn't really stick with me. What else? Like, Marvel's comics, they can be dark and they're dark but Marvel and DC have the tendency to be dark and intricate and very detailed and very frightening at times. It depends on what the story is. Like for Marvel, their darkest story is, in my opinion, that I've read thus far, is what did I read? Because I've read so much shit. Like I was behind like 4 to 6 years on comics, and my library has tons of comics, so I I checked out a shit ton of them, read them all for the most part. One of my top favorite would have to be Civil War, hands down, Civil War, because that was dark and that was really shocking. Because you're talking about how Tony went and created a superhero registration act and had Spider-Man, Peter Parker, be the front man for it. And they even took that complexity out in the film, which is really sad because if they'd have kept the complexity of it, it would have been perfect. That's why that's why if you're like me and you've seen a complex film like Watchmen, the director's cut, or read Watchmen, you like complexity. When you see a complex film that's a psych thriller or uh, like the Saw series, that's super complex with how they wove that together over so many films. What else? Just all kinds of a complex film. I don't know all complex films. I know some, but not all. But those are the ones that are on the top of my head right now. And you see that, and you go and watch, a watered down version of a film that is based on a comic line, and it's watered down. You're like, what the fuck is this shit? And it really just it rubs you the wrong way a little bit. But you're like, oh, this is still cool. But what Marvel films are about now is, action, big fight scenes, aimed at the kids. Whereas, me, I'm in my 30s and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. But I want a little more than just, action and shit. I want complexity. I want depth. I want, dark. I want girth, I guess. Or not girth. What's the word I want? I guess, fuck it, girth is perfect. Because you take away the girth of a film and it's just, bare bones. It's like, look at the macho-ness. Like my favorite moment in Endgame was seeing all the female heroes coming together and, lining up for their fight. That was awesome. I was waiting for that. I mean, it's cool to see all the teams brought together in one big ass film. But, the problem with Marvel and DC as well is they have a hard time making female lead films as well. And that might sound SJW to you, but to me, I don't really see it that way. For me, I like the female heroes more. Male heroes are cool and shit, but man, do we really need 15,000 fucking origin stories on Batman and Superman, for Christ's sake? Oh no, it's a boy, he fell down the well and he's surrounded by bats. I know that story. Oh no, he fell from Earth. He fell from the sky to Earth. He's on a farm. I know that motherfucker too. It gets old. It's like you can make so many iterations of them, and it gets old really fucking fast. And it drives me nuts. Like, you can literally count how many female films there are, heroes and villains alike. Like, you got the Underworld franchise, you have Resident Evil, and I know this is going away from comics, but it still connects to comics. You have Supergirl from 84, right? Yeah. Yes, I think it's 84. 84 to 87 ballpark. Um, Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman, both, yeah, Wonder Woman animated, Wonder Woman live action. Oof. Let's see. Lady Death, Red Sonja, um, and some others. It's like a handful of films, and it's like, what the fuck happened? Elektra. I like that shit. I like Daredevil and Elektra. I really do. Especially, I have the director's cut of Daredevil, and that actually it plays out like a full Marvel film versus the theatrical cut. I still need to get the director's cut of Elektra and find out what's added in that, because I only have the theatrical cut, which I really like. Um, but that's the problem with them. They don't put out, female lead films. It's like, why does it take so long to do that? Like, the thing that made me happy about seeing Captain Marvel was that she wasn't hypersexualized. I was like, holy fuck. She didn't get sexualized. What? That's one of the biggest issues in film and TV. If you have a female lead, it's hard not to sexualize that role, especially with a dude. Especially both sexes. I get sick of that hypersexualization. It's like, ooh, they're like, ooh, she has to have big tits, a big ass, a six pack, or a hot body, and skinny legs, and she's gotta be able to do all kinds of bending over too, and lots of deep cleavage shots. It's like, give me a break. And if it's a dude, like, he's got to be 6 foot tall. He's got to be ripped like a motherfucker. He's got to have a tight ass and a nice package. I'm like, all I know are Ken dolls. Boy, I bet parents would shit their pants if they decided to make realistic fucking male figures and shit with bulges. Parents would be traumatized as fuck with their kids. My child bought this action figure. I am so offended. He has a PENIS, and that is not right. What is wrong with you? That is so offensive. Oh. You know that's true. Oh, God, it'd be so funny. I mean, there's tons of female-led stuff from the past going further back. You got Wonder Woman, which was really good. I never watched it, though, but I heard good things. But it's older, and it's not as appealing to me, but I do know who Lynda Carter is, and I do like Lynda Carter. She's a great fucking woman, great pioneer. A couple other shows that I can tie into this. Cleopatra 2525, Xena Warrior Princess. I grew up on that motherfucker. Love Lucy Lawless. Awesome. But like the thing is, like that hypersexualization, it's like, Jesus Christ, can you stop? Like, damn. And that's the one thing they do different between the movies and the comics again. In the movies, you get watered down sexualization versus the comics where it's like, boom, look at that. Like, for me, I wish they would adapt, what was that story I read? Because I watch Mojo, and that's how I get so educated on top 10 shit. Like, I learn all kinds of shit, plus I apply what I know from reading comics and interacting with other people and stuff. What's that storyline? Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch's romance. I wish they would adapt that into a fucking story. That'd be fucking awesome. People would be so pissed off. Incest? What the fuck? Like, you watched Game of Thrones, asshole. This isn't right. But anyway, back to Marvel versus DC. DC's shows, and I'm talking, this is everything, not because when people say Marvel versus DC, they automatically assume the shows and movies of today. No, I'm talking all time, going all the way back to when the first when they first appeared in comics to today. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about when I say Marvel versus DC. DC, okay. DC is much more darker with its storylines and its characters. Oh, that's better. Pardon me. They know how to write a story. They know how to put it together. They have phenomenal artists. They have phenomenal writers on board. And they've brought to life so much good shit. And, you know, I grew up on both of these companies, Marvel and DC. In the 90s, you know, I watched Marvel animated shows, Spider-Man and all that good shit. And hell, that was dark as fuck because I watched a clip of it on YouTube. I was like, holy shit, are you serious? He threatened to kill his kid? Damn. Anyway, DC. So, DC knows how to go dark with storylines like the death of Superman, Blackest Night, Brightest Day, Green Lantern, Rise of the Third Army, what else? What the fuck was his name? Speedy. Not Speedy. Yeah, Speedy. Yeah, Green Arrow sidekick when he got hooked on heroin and shit. Yeah, they know how to go dark. Marvel's characters, I mean, they're dark, but not as dark. Like, they have their moments, but they're not that, you know, they're not that dark. You know, like, you want them to be darker, but the closest you get to Marvel Zombies and the Punisher. So for DC, like, DC's main drive is the Trinity: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. And then they expanded on that by doing Justice League. And then Justice League turned out to be really good, and they went with that. Well, Justice Friends in the beginning, and then it turned into Justice League, and then Justice Society of America, and all the other iterations. So, you know the titles. You can easily look them all up on Wikipedia, or you can go to DC Marvel's websites and check this shit out. But when it comes to DC films versus comics, let's see here. This is everything, film-wise, animated and live action. Live action, they do pretty fucking good. They do pretty good. I'm talking everything from Batman 89 all the way up to Justice League 2 years ago. And, you know, Justice League is, some of them they're off and on, they're good. Animated. Now, this is going back to the first film, which was Batman Mask of the Phantasm, all the way up to, what was the last one they did? Justice League versus the Fatal Five. The entire DC animated film series, fucking phenomenal. Like, boom, out of the park with that. Except for Killing Joke. And not because of Batman, not because of Batwoman, fucking Batman. No, I didn't have a problem with that. Whatever. That's not what bugged me. What bugged me was it was pegged as the first R-rated film ever from DC. It turned out to be PG-13 wrapped in an R rating. The one film that is closer to being rated R that was PG-13, The Dark Knight Returns, easily. I mean, it's like, and they keep putting out R-rated films, and I'm like, okay, some of these are rated R, and they really fit, like Suicide Squad, Hell to Pay, which I did a review on. You can check that in the movies and television playlist, movies and TV collection playlist. Let's see. Yeah, that was that was a hard rated R right there. That was perfect. That actually had some nudity in it too. Like there's like 2 or 3 seconds of boob and some other shit. Another good one from the animated universe of DC is Constantine City of Demons. I fucking love that. Oh my god, it's good. I'm buying that for sure. um, what's another one that's Gotham by Gaslight is R, but it's more PG-13, if anything. Because it doesn't feel R to me. Like, when I watch it, it's like watching a hard PG-13, to be honest. And if you want to know what a hard PG-13 is, if we're talking Disney, because Marvel's owned by Disney, John Carter, easy. That right there, that movie there is a hard PG-13. It's got, the drama, it's got the violence, it's got the story, it's got the engaging characters, it's got the development, it's got the engagement to it, and boom, and it's got blood and shit. Which is rare because most Disney films don't really have much of that. Unless it's, a little bit. Like, teeny tiny bit. I mean, hell, even some of the MCU films, they don't have much blood in them. No, they don't. Like, you see somebody get stabbed with a sword and the sword comes back out, it's clear. That's how PG-13 they go. It's so retarded. But anyway. So, DC films, animated and live action, kill it for the most part. Comics, they also really fucking kill it. Marvel, I think Marvel gears towards the complexity without going super dark. Like, they go more political dark. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they really do go politically dark for the most part. Because they're all about, politics and shit. And I fucking hate politics, but it's like, it's like, hates politics, watches Game of Thrones. It's like, damn. And John Carter's from Vertigo Comics? I might be wrong on that. I'm not sure. Fuck. I don't remember. I can't keep track of my comics. Marvel films, live action versus animated. And their TV. Okay, so we'll do, films versus, live versus animated. Live action Marvel, fucking beautiful masterpieces, depending on what we're talking about. Some of them are really good, some are bad. For me, I like Blade, I like the Blade trilogy. I enjoy Daredevil, Elektra. Some of the X-Men films. X-Men Apocalypse really sucked dick, though. Ugh. That should have been rated R in a heartbeat, but whatever. Let's see here. X-Men Origins Wolverine. Love that. But not enough to want to own it. You know what I'm talking about. You watch a film and you're like, man, this is really fucking good. And then you finish, you're like, man, I really want to have this in my collection. But am I really going to watch it anymore? Nah. Do I want to own it digitally? No. It's just, I don't know. It's a toss up. It depends on what it is. That's all I can really say about it. Like, it depends on what it is. It could be, you could be a hardcore fan of X-Men 3 and your friends hate it, but they'll sit there and preach about how bad the first X-Men film is. Wow, I'm half an hour in. Nice. This might be longer than a half an hour or 45 minutes. I'm not even done yet. um, so films, live action films of Marvel, they're hit or miss, basically. Like you have a hit like Blade, and then you have a miss like uh, X-Men Apocalypse. You have a hit like Deadpool, and you have a miss like the early MCU films. I'm not big on those. That's my opinion. They're cool, but they're not that good. Fuck off, Twitter. Damn. Marvel animated films. Now, Marvel animated had it going on. They had it going really, really good, and they're still making Marvel animated films. They still are. They're sporadic. They're not consecutive like their live action films are. Actually, let me get a drink. Thirsty. Gum's kind of going dry, but much better. Ooh, mama. So, let's see. Marvel animated films. I love the Marvel animated series. Well, yeah, that too. I'll get to that in a second. I love the animated films. There was only 8 of them. Let's see. See if I name them off here. I gotta think. Invincible Iron Man, Ultimate Avengers 1 and 2, Next Avengers Heroes of Tomorrow, Hulk versus Thor and Wolverine. That's 5. What was the other ones? Doctor Strange, Planet Hulk. What's that last one? Thor, Tales of Asgard. There we go. I did it. Yeah, I named them all. Woo! Now, which one sucked ass out of them? Bet you can't guess which one. If you said Planet Hulk, you are correct. Oh, man. Planet Hulk. I fucking hate that movie. When I first saw it, I was like, oh man, this is epic. Yeah. Fuck off, Twitter. I was so excited for that shit. Like, because I had read the comic. If you read the comic like I did, leave a like, please. If you haven't read the comic, and you want to watch the movie, which is on Netflix, read the comic. Trust me. And they're like, oh, why should I read the comic and not watch the movie? The movie's right on Netflix. Let's see. If you like going back to what I said about being watered down and gutted and no girth, yeah. That film, go away. Damn. Okay, here's what Planet Hulk did wrong. They cut out the love story with Hulk and the Queen. They cut out key characters. They focused everything on Hulk being strong and changed up the plot as well. Yeah, they fucked it up. It was so bad. Because originally in the comic, everything I named that goes cut out is in the comic. Silver Surfer was supposed to be in Planet Hulk, but due to licensing and something back then, because apparently Marvel didn't have the rights to Silver Surfer at the time, so he was cut out of the film, which really sucked. It blows ass, but whatever. So yeah, out of all them films, the best one, honestly, is Doctor Strange. Legit, the best. That's the best one, in my opinion, out of that whole animated series, or saga, I should say. Um, it's beautifully dark. It is very well written. It even has blood in it for the first time. How cool is that? Like they were moving towards a dark direction. And then that was 2007. So that was a year before Iron Man was set to come out. Because Iron Man dropped in '08, and Doctor Strange was the last Marvel animated film, and they decided to opt out of animated stuff for a while. And then they did Thor Tales of Asgard, I think, the following year. And then that was the last one. No, Thor Tales from Asgard came out in 2011, I think. I could be wrong. I might be right. I don't know. I can't really check because if I stop now, I'll have to make another video. And I want to make this one whole video with no edits and shit. Because, hell, I don't edit my videos at all. What you see is raw. So yeah, Thor Tales from Asgard. That Tales of Asgard. I keep getting it mixed up. That one was good, but kind of weak at the same time. Another go down the Marvel animated films is Hulk versus. Definitely Hulk versus. Because that shit had blood in it too. Actually, yeah, that was the one that had blood in it first. If I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched all of them. I have most of them in storage. I just haven't really watched them, and some of them are on Netflix. Of course, they'll be taken off, and probably put on Disney Plus in the fall. Hold on. Oh, my back. Oh, my motherfucking back. Oh. Whew. All right. Whew. Had to crack my back. Whew. Much better. So anyway, Marvel animated films versus live action. God, I don't know. It's hard to pick. Like out of all the, like with the MCU, I like it, but not enough to want to own every film. I don't see the point in owning all those films. That's a waste of money. My head. Let me think. Animated films? Yeah, I own those. Those are it's a tie. Like if we were to take the last four films that have come the last 4 or 5 films that have come out for the MCU. Black Panther, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Infinity War. Oh wait, no. Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, and Endgame. Take those 5 versus the animated movies. That's a tie for me. For me, it's a tie. If we were to take out Shitty Planet Hulk and Thor's film, yeah, it would be an even match for me. Pretty much, because they're so good. They differ from each other, and this brings me into Marvel's. Wow, I went straight to fucking Marvel after DC. Fun. Like the shows, like Marvel shows. Yeah, I'll go into TV shows now. So Marvel shows versus DC shows. Whose is darker? That's the real question. Marvel has put out a lot of shows over the years. So is DC. Um, it's hard to pick who's the darkest because I'm a '90s baby, so I grew up with the '90s cartoons and stuff from '90s to now because I still watch some stuff, but not all of it. Let me see. I'm sleepy. Damn. I shouldn't be tired though. I'm waiting to see if it's gonna rain. That's why I keep looking out the window. I think it's gonna rain or thunderstorm or whatever. I would have to say, objectively, DC's was more dark. Definitely went darker because when you watch the shit as a kid, a lot of stuff goes over your head. When you rewatch it as an adult, you pick up on how dark it really was, and it's really baffling how dark the shit was and how everything went over your head. Like crazy, like wow. It's nuts. Cuz Marvel's animated shows, they varied between dark and funny. You had dark like '90s Spider-Man. I wish they would put that fucker on Blu-ray already. And then you have funny like the superhero squad shit or Hawk and the Agents of Smash. Although that was dark but more funny. What else? Ouch. Hand hurts. Let me see here. In DC's shows, of course, the flagship for that is Batman the Animated Series, hands down. Like, that shit was uber dark in its own way. And I didn't even realize how dark it really was until I was, like, really looking back on it. Like, damn, that shit was dark. And then you have, you got the animated shows. What about the live action shows? It's not just, I'm talking all shows. So, there's animated and there's live action. So, let's get into live action then. Live action Marvel. In the beginning, it needed a lot of work. It was corny and campy and funny. And, it had a tone to it, but not a, serious enough tone. Yeah. And I don't mean, incorporating today's events into it. I'm talking about, maturing and stuff. Like, if you ever watch, like, if you, like, old, like, 80s action films, they're all about the macho attitude. And, big muscles, big dudes, big guns, big explosions, everything. Over the top bullshit, guy gets the girl, happy ending. That's boring. Hold on. There we go. Alright. Better. Much better. Another reason I chew gum, because I have anxiety, like I've said, so it helps me not to, like, sometimes under my skin I'll feel it crawling and shit. I mentioned that. This helps. So, much better. So Marvel's films. Duh. Marvel's live action shows did mature and evolve over the years. Just like action films have evolved and matured and changed over the years. It's still the same concept, but less on the concept, which is really nice. Let's see. Marvel's Netflix shows, I love those. I love them all. And I'm sad that they got canceled. Piss the fuck off. Damn. Fucking Twitter. Yeah, they were all good. And it sucks that, they picked up steam like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, uh, Daredevil, and Punisher, they all picked up the pace after so many seasons, and I can't believe they just axed them like that. Like shit. And we're still waiting on Jessica Jones season 3, and I love Jessica Jones. To me, she is the most developed, fleshed out, intricate character that they ever produced. Like literally, like I love her to a T because her story is organic, it is hard hitting, it is unapologetic versus you know, the basic generic dude story like, ooh, someone killed my parents, someone killed my girlfriend, I have powers now. It gets old real quick. And I know somebody's wondering, since I mentioned Daredevil, who's my favorite Daredevil? Well, there's 3 Daredevils. There's animated Daredevil, there's Ben Affleck Daredevil, and there's Charlie Cox Daredevil. I think that's his last name. I might be wrong, I might be right. Go away, Instagram. I would have to say animated is good. It's a starting block. So then I'll cut him out because he didn't have that much of a part in the shows, and he didn't even have his own series until, a few years ago. So we'll stick with Ben Affleck and Charlie. Okay. For Ben's portrayal of Daredevil was spot on because I've always wondered what it would be like, to see as a blind person who's got powers. And the way it's set up, it's so damn good, and I like that. And I wasn't disappointed at all. I loved it. It was really good. And the way I'm trying to think. He basically uses echolocation like a bat, which is really cool. And then you have Charlie's portrayal of Daredevil. His origin story, the way his is set up is way better because, it's a bare bones story. It's, started from the bottom, now it's moving to the top. And it's really good. It's perfect because it's fleshed out. You got his backstory, he's got faults, he's got weaknesses and all that. Whereas Ben Affleck's Daredevil portrayal, he has more. I don't know. I think he went with the more is less strategy in the film, in my opinion, because the way he sets everything up is really nice, and I like that he, fucking Twitter, the way he set up himself in the deprivation tank, that was nice. Because I'm trying to think. I want to say he had tinnitus, but I don't think that's right. Or it might have been a side effect of his powers. I don't know. Might have been. Or it just could be that he enjoys, soaking in underwater because underwater you don't hear anything but just, the ocean, the water sounds and stuff. So between the two of them, it's a tie for me because I like both of them. Both their portrayals are great and phenomenal, and I love it. And it's nice that we were getting new characters and stuff brought to life on Netflix because Marvel Netflix, they have no bounds whatsoever versus films where the films are restrictive and shit. And they can't do a whole lot on film because, like I said, kid demographic. DC shows. Well, I never watched Runaways. There's some other Marvel shows I haven't watched yet because I'm still waiting, for them to be done and over so I can, binge them later in the future. DC's live action shows have really progressed greatly over the years. Like, they've matured a lot from what was the first one in the 90s that I remember? Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman. That was really good. I love Dean Cain. Yeah, he was let's see. Yeah, he was the Superman I grew up with, aside from Christopher Reeve as well. Or Reeves, I should say. I'm sorry. Yeah, I grew up with Christopher Reeves and Dean Cain Superman, as well as animated Superman, and all the multiple voice portrayals of his ass. Let's see. Yeah, from Dean Cain all the way up to, what's the newest one that's out now? Doom Patrol, I think. Because, like I said, I've only watched so many DC shows. I did like Arrow. I did like The Flash. I haven't watched Supergirl yet. I haven't watched Black Lightning yet. I haven't watched Titans. So there's some shows that I haven't watched, but I'm probably going to like them, give or take, depending. Because, I don't overanalyze shit, unlike most people do. Let's see. So for the shows, I would say between Marvel and DC live action shows, DC definitely has the edge. Because they know how to make it dark and really go there. Marvel has just picked up with the dark, with expanding on the dark in Netflix Marvel, which is what I liked. That was nice because that was edgier, it was grittier, it was darker and whatnot. And they brought them together for Defenders, and Defenders was great. I wish they would have brought that back for a second season. Oh man, my head hurts. So if I had to pick a healthy balance, if I had to pick a healthy balance, it would be, how did I say it? I was talking to my sister about this a few weeks ago. I said it would be Marvel's films and DC's animated films versus DC's live action films and Marvel's animated shows or something like that, or Marvel's shows, I think, because it was a perfect balance of it, because you get what you need out of both. And then for other comic book companies like Dark Horse, Image, Vertigo, what's another one? I don't remember the other ones. Wildstorm, that's another one. I think that went out of business though. Then you have Chaos Comics, Chaos Comics, and then that became Coffin Comics under Brian Paluto, who created Lady Death, who I'm friends with on Facebook. The other companies, they have good shit too. They have Hellboy, they have Spawn, they have Sandman. I don't know. I haven't read a lot of comics lately, so I'm behind on a lot of stuff. And then you have, cult classic shows like Buffy and Angel that have their own comic lines under Dark Horse and whatnot. And, Spawn, shit. Because, see, that's the funny thing about Marvel versus DC. Everybody wants to jump on one of the two bandwagons. Like, you're either Marvel or you're DC. What the fuck about the other ones? I mean, hell. Why, like, why can't we include Hellboy and Spawn on the spectrum? You know, like, both of them, in their own respects, are phenomenal characters because they have weaknesses, they have depth and character to them, and I thrive on that shit. I love a character that has multiple. They're 4-dimensional. I like a 4-dimensional character. I don't like 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional. I like a 4-dimensional character. That's why when you look at certain characters from comics, oh man, I wanted to belch. When you look at certain characters from comics, a lot of them will, they'll speak to you and you'll understand where they're coming from, and you'll be able to identify with them on some sort of level, whether, it's Tony Stark for being an alcoholic, or Superman for being an alien from another planet and not knowing his place in the world, to, Hellboy, who is always, he's the stoic type, or Spawn, who just wants to get back with his wife and shit and kid. I don't know where he's at now because I haven't read Spawn comics in a while, so I'm kind of behind. Man, I'm actually tired. This is coming up on an hour. Whew, Mamma mia. So, if I gave you my verdict on the balance, but, am I Marvel or am I DC? It's hard to pick. It's like, you can like whatever you want. Me, I like everything for the most part. It depends. That's why I always say it depends, because shit changes every day, every so often. And one of the funnier things about Marvel versus DC is when they announce, there's a lesbian character or a gay character or whatever character. Like recently they mentioned they're doing the Batwoman on CW with Ruby Rose. Okay, 1, she's a lesbian. Ruby's a lesbian. 2, Batwoman is also a lesbian. And I know some people, no, she's not. No, you're a liar. That's SJW talk there. Yeah, you're an SJW person. Yeah. Newsflash, asshole. Batwoman has been a rug muncher since 2006. Read the comics. Like, damn. I actually brought that up in a thread on Facebook about that shit. Because some guy was like, that's not right. She's not a lesbian. She likes dick. I'm like, goes to show what she's been eating pussy for 13 years. Oh, man. Dumbasses. It's like, that's what I hate. Like, every time a new hero is announced and their sexuality comes into question, people are always so quick to jump on the bandwagon and say it's wrong without knowing anything about comics. That's the problem. That's one of their main fucking issues. It's like, dude, if you just read the comics, or not even read the comics, just, look up the synopsis for it, or at least check out the bio for it. It's not hard to do. Educate yourself. Know what you're talking about before you jump into the fire and get fucking incinerated because you're a retard. I didn't know that. It's not my fault, faggot. You should have read it. Damn. I mean, Christ, you could go on Twitter and like, who's this? And you'll get like thousands of responses or none at all. It all depends. I don't know. I mean, for now, in Marvel versus DC, definitely. Oh, IDW is another comic line I forgot about. I just realized that when I looked over at Bumblebee. I was like, oh yeah, IDW Comics. And they got their own shit going on. They have Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I forget what all they have. They have all kinds of good shit. But anyway, back to the main question. Marvel or DC? I'll never tell. I will say, though, Endgame did leave me in tears the whole fucking time. Like, oh, it was rough. So I guess I don't know. I guess I'm kind of Marvel, but at the same time, I love DC because DC's got the dark and the depth to it and the intricacies and shit. I can take both or leave both. I'm not for or against anything. Like, it doesn't matter to me. It's fun. I mean, you can read the comics, you can watch the shows, you can watch the movies, you can play the games. Oh shit, I forgot they did video games. Damn, this is a long video. Wow. So, let's do video games real fast, because I'm getting kind of tired. Ooh. Yeah, you know that face. I puked a little bit. Gross. Okay. Whew, vomit gone. Ew. That was not fetch. So Marvel video games versus DC video games. That's a tricky one. Wow. I'd have to go with Marvel on this because, well, no. I don't know. It's hard to pick because they've had so many video games over the years. It's really hard to pick, like, which games are the best, you know, which franchise had it better, Marvel or DC. Quality-wise, if we're talking strictly Lego Marvel and Lego DC, I would go with Lego DC, because I like Lego DC a lot. Lego's fun. I like Lego games, period. They're exciting and fun. It's just good shit to do. If we're talking as a whole, wow, that's hard. I don't know really. It's tricky. I guess a tie. Because there really hasn't been any, like... Well, no, actually, DC does kill it game-wise, because, you know, you got the Batman sagas with Arkham and stuff. So, yeah, DC does kill it game-wise. Marvel, not so much. Marvel kind of does it kid-wise, but it's hard to call. Oh, come here. Damn. So, that was my analysis. That was my little rant on Marvel versus DC. Hour-long video. No breaks, no edits, no shit. My hand hurts. My mouth kind of hurt. Oh no, not my mouth. No, my head hurts actually, because... Whew. I don't know. It's your choice. You have the freedom to choose what you want to like, whether it's other comic companies or it's the main juggernauts like Marvel or DC. You don't have to choose either one. You can choose what you like. Always stand by your choice. That's all I got to say, you know? It's just stand by your choice. Oh man, I forgot they have toys. Fuck. Kidding, I'm not going to talk about toys. DC kills it with toys. Oh man. I don't know. Toys are cool though, but whatever. So, you know, It's whatever you like. You pick. So, until next time, like and subscribe for thoughts and prayers.